If your Amazon KDP sales aren't where you want them to be, don't assume it's your book. More often than not, it's actually a few small details in your listing that hold you back. So in this video, I'll show you what they are and how to fix them to get more visibility and more sales. This video is part of an ongoing series where I review book listings from our author community, spotting to see what's working, where opportunities were being missed, and what mistakes can be fixed to get better results. So if that's something you're interested in, stay tuned, and then let's get right into this video. And just quickly, in case you're new to the channel, Cleo and I have sold over 240,000 books between our different KDP accounts, and we have a free Facebook group with 230,000 authors. And with our self-publishing Titans tools, we have helped over 300,000 authors. So that's just a quick thing about us, and let's check the first book. So this book that we have right here is fortunately or unfortunately one of the worst ones I've seen since starting this series. So there'll be lots of learning points and tips I can give you to avoid to not be like that and not get stuck at 0 sales. So obviously this book has no bestseller rank and has never had a single sale. So let's figure out all of the reasons here. So looking at the cover, it says Entrepreneurship, a stepwise guide to initiate, develop, and execute business startups by, and then 4 different author names. So the first thing I notice here is that the cover is quite plain, and there's also a misalignment here we can see on the left side here where the white doesn't go all the way to the left side, but that's obviously the minor points. The bigger point here is really just the amount of text. So there's way too much text. And then the other problem we have here is just with the wording itself. But let's look at the title just to see the full thing here. So it says Entrepreneurship in all caps, and then a stepwise guide to initiate. So this already sounds really odd, like a stepwise guide. Like stepwise is not really a word that you would really use with entrepreneurship. So that's already just sounding a bit maybe AI or something like that. And then the title is also really long and kind of strange. We have all caps and then not all caps. And then it's also a really long title. The rest says a stepwise guide to initiate, develop, and execute business startups. So that also sounds weird, execute business startups. Like it just doesn't flow well. It doesn't almost make sense. I mean, it makes sense, but it's just not the right wording. And then the subtitle says, turn your idea into a profitable business with a proven step-by-step system, includes FBM model. Almost no one will know what FBM stands for. So that's also something that you don't really want to have in your title. Your title should be simple English that almost everyone can understand so they can instantly see what the book is about. And with this, it's more specialized, and I'm not really the biggest fan of that for a title itself. That could be part of the description. And then here looking at the author names, it says there's 4 authors, and the first thing that struck out is that all of them are doctors. So Dr. Fawad, Dr. Sahar, Dr. Rehman, Dr. Usman. So like doctor of what? Like it's obviously not medical doctor. Do you have a PhD? You know, what are the chances that 4 authors would have a PhD in something, but doctor, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to call anyone out, but almost maybe sounds like those names were made up, or the doctor name was made up maybe just to make it sound smarter or better. Obviously, I'm not accusing anybody, but what are the odds of 4 doctors writing a book that's never gotten a single sale? I don't know. I'm just being truthful here, and the reason I'm bringing it up is that I think you should either use your personal name or a pen name, author name that you can make up, or a brand name, but I wouldn't add doctor if you're not truly a doctor. Like make sure it's authentic, it's real, it makes sense. That would be my feedback on that. Okay, so going back to the title and subtitle. So besides the words used that I'm not really the biggest fan of, the main thing that's also missing here is just the main keyword. So like what is the main niche that this book is targeting? It almost feels like there's way too many single words that we're trying to kind of target as for SEO. So like entrepreneurship, develop, execute, business, startup, profitable business, step-by-step system, FBM. But then we don't have like one nice long tail niche that's not so competitive. So that's what I would say is missing here. And then looking at the description, I got a business idea but don't know where to start or how to scale it. This book is your no-fluff step-by-step guide to launching and growing a business that actually works in the real world. And when I was reading this right before making this video, I also felt like that it almost sounded like AI. So I went to gpt0.me and then copied and pasted this in. And it says here, we are highly confident this text was AI generated. I have nothing against using AI for descriptions or even helping with titles, but they're not always perfect. So you then definitely have to edit them and kind of perfect them and make them sound human, because when reading this, it really sounds like it's AI written. And I feel like that's a bad thing, because if the description is AI written and it feels like that, how much trust or faith can you actually have in a book that it's human written? Because the description would surely be the easiest part to write, especially if this is a 244-page book. So like I said, I have nothing against using AI to write descriptions, but then you definitely have to reword it and make it sound human and make it your own, so it looks good and feels right. So for this book, if we open our Titans AI analyzer, we can see that this has a score of 48. And in case you're not familiar with this Chrome extension, you can just type in self-publishing Titans in a Chrome extension store and install this one. This is the brand new one, which combines both of these and all of the new releases into one. So it's very useful. So this is a free tool right here, so you feel free to use that unlimited as much as you want to. I just want to see what it says about the cover. So our AI is saying, under improvements, the title hierarchy could be more visually distinct. The size and weight of the subtitles compete with the main title. So I think that's a good point. Reducing clarity at smaller sizes. Additionally, the multiple author names placed tightly together can appear cluttered and might benefit from spacing or different placements for better readability. So I also agree with that. And then under the opportunity here, it says incorporating a subtle, relevant graphic element or symbol related to startups or entrepreneurship could enhance visual interest and better convey the book's core promise. Refining the typography to create a clear focal point would help the cover stand out more compellingly in Amazon search results and attract the target audience more effectively. So I think that's also good here. Definitely some graphic element could help this look even more exciting and maybe have less text, and figuring out what to do with the 4 author names, because it's almost taking up 1/3 of the cover, which I don't think it needs to. Let's see what our Titan AI tool says about the cover here. So under opportunity, it says the title and subtitle are quite long and somewhat cluttered. I agree with that, which may reduce the readability and impact. Simplifying the subtitle to focus on the key benefit and clarifying or removing jargon like FBM model would enhance clarity and memorability. So that's something I also talked about. Like, most people just don't know what that is. And then just an improved example title is Entrepreneurship as the title, and in the subtitle, a stepwise guide to launch and grow profitable startups, turn your idea into a thriving business with proven systems. So already much nicer. I personally don't like the word stepwise in the title, so I would get rid of that. So maybe step-by-step guide instead. I think that's a little bit more clear and nicer, but that's just a bit for that. So let's look at the rest here. Okay, so under A+ content, we have some, so good job for having A+ content, definitely important. So launch your startup with confidence, structured guidance, and then real business tools, not really the biggest fan of that. And then written with practitioners. I don't know what that's supposed to mean really. So I like that there's A+ content, but I feel like the execution is a bit of a miss. I do like that there's a lot of A+ content. So you have an image, then more text, and then 4 columns. So the idea of it was good. But overall, I feel like slightly bit of a miss. That could be slightly improved. So overall, I really feel like that the whole package was unfortunately poorly put together. And if this is written by AI, I would definitely suggest you get someone to write it so it's human made. It doesn't read like it's AI, because that will definitely get you bad reviews. And then with the title, definitely big improvements needed on that. And definitely rewrite your description so it doesn't sound and feel like AI. So I hope that is a good learning lesson for you and everybody else. And let's check the next one here. So here, this is a book submitted to us from someone in France. So this is quite exciting. So that's why the cover is in French. And I have the Translate Chrome extension installed so I can see it in English. It might not be perfect, but it will give us the idea. So here it says, I decided to live without you, as the title, so that sounds nice. And then how to get over a breakup, regain self-confidence, and move on without betraying yourself. So also, I like the subtitle. It's clean, straight to the point, no keyword stuffing. And especially this being a high content book, I think you did great on that. Sometimes with high content books, it's a little bit harder to have keywords in it, especially if it's fiction or non-fiction. But here we at least have some things like getting over breakup, self-confidence, moving on, betraying yourself, things like that. So that's pretty good. Obviously, we don't have like a long tail keyword in there, but this is definitely a great start, especially for this kind of book. So I just highly urge you to really make sure that in your 7 backend keywords, we have long tail keywords that would describe the book well and the things that people are searching for. So we would obviously use Titans Pro, and the way it works is you just type something in here and then it would pop up all of the Amazon search suggestions for that niche. But yeah, just do that. Looking at your description, it looks quite nice. It's a good length, not too short, not too long. I like that you have bullet points. My preference is always having 5 bullet points. So try adding 2 more just to complete that. And then I would move them slightly higher up, just so it's almost the first thing someone sees. And I think that will help you with your conversion. See here, looking at the Self-Publishing Titans bestseller rank chart, we can see that this has gotten consistent sales so far, which is good. And the way this works is every time it drops, basically when the bestseller rank goes lower, it basically shows you that there was a sale. So that's good. Okay, so we have some A+ content here, which is great. Good job for that. This looks slightly plain, not as exciting as it probably could be. So one thing I would do is maybe add even more A+ content. You can show things in the book or have some quotes or maybe some pictures, just anything exciting, or even some lifestyle images, someone holding the book. You can get creative with it and really make this really good. Looking at your categories, those weren't translated, but like here I can see divorce. And then I guess some more is love. And then this, I don't know, but seems like you did okay with that. Here we obviously have a profile picture missing. So definitely want to add one quickly for that. But I do see that you added a author description. So good job for that. And you also have reviews, which is great. So overall, this is good. The one thing I would suggest on the cover is just repositioning or resizing the text so we don't have the white text here covering the sun. And then here we can also see that the sun is off center and is getting cut off on the right side. So I would move it more over to the left. And I think that will look nicer. And then we could even try making the red bar smaller and then dragging down the author name. I'm not sure it has to be so high up, but that's just preference. But the text here at the top, I think, should definitely be fixed. And then the sun on the right side should also be fixed, just to give it an even more clean and professional look. But otherwise, I think you did great. Looking at your books here, it looks like you only have paperback. So I would definitely also add an ebook version. For high content books, definitely very important to have as many book types as possible, because each book listing can rank organically for different keywords and in the search results. So it's just really beneficial to have that. So I hope that was helpful for you, and let's check the next one. Okay, so let's start by looking at the cover here. So the cover is kind of bright and colorful, but I'm not really the biggest fan of it. To me, it doesn't really speak coloring book. And then there's way too much text here. So we have bold and unstoppable, but then that doesn't tell you anything. And then the rest is almost kind of hard to read because it's so much smaller. So, and then this text down below is almost impossible to read. So I think that's a bit of a missed opportunity. And then this also just doesn't look like a coloring book to me. This looks more like it could be a guidebook or how-to book or some high content book, but not a coloring book. So that's probably the main reason you're also not getting sales, besides the title here. So for the title, it says bold and unstoppable. So I guess that's fine, but for a coloring book, you could also definitely have your main keywords, like a nice long tail keyword in the title. But if not, definitely in the subtitle, which here is an affirmations coloring book. So affirmations coloring book is fine, but we're definitely missing some sub niches or other niches that could complement this. So what kind of coloring book is it? Who is it for? What kind of coloring pages do we have? Is it relaxing? You know, there could be many different keywords. Looking at your back images, good job for showing what kind of coloring pages these are. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of these kinds of coloring images, but that's all my preference. I just don't know if others feel the same. If anyone watching has an opinion on this, you can let me know down in the comments. But I prefer if they're not really grayscale. And these kinds of images kind of make me feel like they're created with AI. But maybe others feel the same, and that could just be another reason we're not getting sales on this book. So I'm just mentioning that. Looking at your description, we have a lot of bullet points. So what I would do is reduce that into half. Maybe they can be combined or some can be deleted. And then we just move them higher up. So here I don't see any A+ content. So that's a big miss for a coloring book. For coloring books, A+ content is super important because it gives you a big chance to really show you the high quality coloring pages that the book has. And obviously this helps you get more buyers and better conversion rates. And then here we can also see that there's no author image and no description. So I would definitely change that. So here we have children's coloring books, but this book didn't feel like it was for kids. It felt like it was more for adults, especially because it's affirmations. So I don't think that's a good category. I would change that. Maybe to coloring book for adults. Here we have art therapy and relaxation. Maybe okay. Religious and inspirational coloring books for grown-ups. See, so here we have grown-ups and here we have kids, so it's kind of contradicting. And category names is actually used by Amazon as part of the Amazon search algorithm. So if you have wrong categories, it can also confuse them of what your book is about. So here having adults and here children, I don't think is the best, especially the keywords we're targeting in your title. So I would change that as well. Yeah, so I think the main thing to fix for this book or future books would be the cover for sure. Coloring book doesn't need much text on the cover. It needs to show that it's a coloring book. And then for the title and subtitle, we definitely want to have long tail keywords and other descriptive words that tell you what the book is about and what the pages are like. And that can also help you rank for many more keywords. All right, so let's check one more here. So this is great. This is a sports crossword puzzle book. So this is the first crossword puzzle book we had in this series so far. So let's start off by looking at the title. So it says sports crossword puzzles, which is fine. All caps, but then the subtitle is not all caps. So I'm a big fan and believer in consistency. So I think it would be much better if this was not all caps. So the whole title and subtitle blends and kind of looks nicer. So just a slight tip there. But the title itself sounds good. Sports crossword puzzles is clear to the point. Medium to hard challenges for kids, ages 9 to 12. Enjoyable puzzles to learn and explore football, baseball, basketball, soccer, hockey, tennis, and more. So what I like here is that we have difficulty levels, but I'm not sure that medium to hard is possibly the best for the age group 9 to 12. I feel like medium to hard would more indicate that it could be for adults. Obviously, these kids could have medium and hard ones for their age group, but from having done a lot of activity books and puzzle books ourselves, I definitely feel like that this is more suitable for adults. So that's a small tip from experience on that. But I also like that we have all the different sports that we have in here. So those could be good keywords to complement this book. So overall, I feel like the title and subtitle is good. The tips I mentioned are more minor tweaks. We're definitely on the right track. The only other suggestion I could have is that we could start making it slightly shorter. 3 lines is slightly long, but it could work. But something else to try out to see if your shorter titles do better. Let's look at your cover. So looking at the cover, it's very colorful. I think it looks quite good actually. I like the pattern background. I like the different athletes. They look like they're in action, and I think you did a good job on showing the crossword by itself. So it's very clear that this is sports just by looking at the people and its letters and words. So I think that's good. The only thing I would probably change here is moving the sports just a little bit higher so it's not touching the arm and cutting off the hand here. And then at the same time, we can move up the puzzles so the puzzles isn't touching the crosswords. I think that would just look slightly better. And then here on the bottom, I feel like the medium to hard challenges and covering the person's foot over here is not the best placement. So I would probably move that down lower. And with full solutions, you could probably get rid of to give it more space. And then I think that would look a little bit more clean and then also have less text, which I think would be good. But overall, I think you did well. These are just slight improvements to make it even better and also things to keep in mind for future covers. All right, so that was it for today's video. If you want to see more free training every single day, make sure to subscribe. And if you want to support the channel, please leave a comment down below and a like. Oh, and just real quick before I forget, in case you want to also have your book reviewed by me for free, you can go to selfpublishingtitans.com/review and submit your book, and then I'd love to help you as well. All right, so see you tomorrow. Bye.